This is a short training video on how to complete live data entry at the bedside. The cycled database platform is called iDataFax, and it uses a secure portal called DF Navigator. This video includes an overview of what you need for live data entry, step-by-step instructions for accessing the database, as well as step-by-step instructions on how to complete live data entry at the bedside. To begin data entry at the bedside, you will need a computer running Windows 7, 8 or higher, or OS X version 10.8 or later, with an active internet connection and with access to an internet browser such as Google Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer. You will need the web address to the DF Navigator, which is app42.idatafax.com. This navigator facilitates access to iDataFax from any public computer and does not require the downloadable client. You will also need the DataFax server name, which is fhsdatafax.csu.mcmaster.ca, and finally, a username and password, which will be unique to each individual with access to iDataFax. Please note, if you forget your password, you will need to contact the Psychomethods Center in order to get a reset. This can take up to 24 hours and may vary depending on workload and day of the week. These are the pieces you will need to gain entry into iDataFax and begin entering data. If any of the above pieces are missing, you will not be able to enter data live. In the event of an unforeseen circumstance, and to prevent the loss of any data, we encourage you to always carry a paper copy of the relevant forms for data entry at a later time. Let's get started. First, access your internet browser. In the address bar, enter app42.idatafax.com. This is the portal where you will need to enter the following three pieces of information in the pop-up login box. Please note, this may take a few moments to load. In the DataFax server name bar, enter fhsdatafax.csu.mcmaster.ca. Enter your username and password, and click Login. A window below the login will open and the Cycle Study database will appear. Double-click on this and the study will open. Please be aware that for security, confidentiality, and privacy reasons, iDataFax will automatically log out of the study after 5 minutes of inactivity. To reset the inactivity timer, simply click anywhere on the internet browser window. You are now in the database. In the leftmost column, double-click on your site number - name and double-click on the appropriate patient ID. We will use Test Center as an example, and patient 991001 will be patient number 1. The list of study days for the patient will appear. Click on the appropriate study day. Please note that study days are continuous from 1 to 28, including weekends and holidays. If you are a therapist conducting an intervention session, these will only be entered Monday to Friday, so please ensure you are on the correct study day and corresponding date. To confirm the study day and date prior to entering data, open up Study Day 1, Form Daily 4.1, and on the top right portion of the page, you will see the date of Study Day 1. Once you are sure you are on the correct day and calendar date, double-click on the study day to open the list of applicable forms for that day. Depending on the access associated with your username, you may see different forms. For example, intervention therapists will be able to view daily data forms but not enter or change any data on these forms. You will be able to enter data on forms PT Therapy Worksheet, 5R Routine PT, 5C Cycling, and 6 Safety Events. I will now open the PT Therapy Worksheet to demonstrate data entry. To complete a form, single-click on the form you wish to complete, and with your mouse, click on the study day in the top right corner. To move to the next data field, press Enter to move forward, or Shift+Tab to move backward. Depending on the requirements for each data field, complete it by entering letters, numbers, or selecting a checkbox as indicated. Now, as we can see, I have accidentally started entering PT therapy data on study day 2, which is a Saturday and therefore is not required. If you have entered data inadvertently on the wrong day, the wrong form, or the wrong patient, you can remove all unwanted changes to that form by clicking on another form in the left column. A pop-up box will appear, giving the 3 save options that I will outline momentarily, as well as a discard changes option, which will revert the form back to its last save. Clicking final or incomplete in this instance will result in the form saving the inaccurate data. Because these data were entered inadvertently and I wish to discard them, I will click the Discard Changes button. I will now open the correct study day and begin to enter data. Once you have entered all of the data and are finished with the page, you will want to save your work. To do this, you will click one of the 3 save buttons at the bottom of the data entry window. Final to indicate that data entry is complete. Incomplete to indicate that some fields are incomplete or some queries remain to be answered. Or pending to indicate that you have not yet finished your work with the page and want to finish it before it is reviewed by the Methods Center. This step is imperative. If you exit out of the browser window without clicking one of these buttons, your data will be lost. Please also note that if you are automatically logged out due to inactivity and had not saved prior to this, that data will be lost. In order to save a form as final, all of the red highlighted data fields need to be completed, as we have done here, and within a suitable range of values set by the Methods Center. So now that we have entered all of the data, we will save the form as final using the buttons at the bottom. I will now enter data on the routine PT form. You can see here that I am not able to save the form as final. This is because I left the routine PT mobility activities item blank. Note that these fields are red. I can save the form as incomplete though, which may be the case if there are some pieces of data that you wish to go back and enter later. On saving, you can see that a query has popped up, cueing us to the fact that we need to complete the missing data. I will now go on to the 5C cycling form. For this form, I have already entered some data for the patient, but have left the field of cycling session duration blank, which I will now go ahead and enter. You can see here that I am not able to save this form as final either. This is because I have entered 36 minutes and 13 seconds for the cycling time. Because the target time for cycling sessions is 30 minutes, that duration is out of the range set by the Methods Center, and therefore a query has been generated. You can see on iDataFax at the bottom that they indicate that an illegal value exists on the form. When this occurs, you will not be able to save the page as final, but will be able to save it as incomplete. If you have any questions, please contact your site leads for assistance. In summary, for live data entry, you will need a computer with internet access and to be familiar with your individual username and password. Please be sure to save your data frequently, as if you click out of the browser or are automatically logged off due to inactivity, that data will be lost. We highly recommend having paper copies of relevant forms handy if needed.